It's the Ray Horner Morning Show.
I don't listen to anything else.
On 93.5, 1590 WAKR.
93.5, 1590 WAKR. Good morning. 18 minutes in front of 9 o'clock, and taking time out of his day to join us this morning is current film professor, longtime Cleveland sports fan, former entertainment industry professional Joe Fortunato with us. He's joined me on the show from time to time, and I reached out to Joe because Venom had a huge weekend at the box office last weekend. And I was wondering, is this a trend of people getting back to the theaters with some biggies coming out, speaking of movies, here in the near future? And Joe is very much tied into the film industry. And Joe, with that being said, the Venom weekend, is that a prelude of things to come?
Well, good morning, Ray, and nice to be with you again. Venom reached $100 million in box office on its 3-day box office, which is pretty good by any standards, let alone pandemic standards. And that's the first one to do that in the pandemic. And it's coming off of some recent hits like Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings and the Ryan Reynolds film Free Guy. So things are slowly coming back, and they have really been since May. The summer box office has been up 900% from last year, which is quite a bit. Now, to put that in perspective, that's still down 81% from the pre-pandemic year. So we've got a long way to go. But 80% of theaters are now open, and people seem to be wanting to go back. Venom is a good indicator of that. I think we're going to be seeing a couple films, no least of which is the new Bond film, No Time to Die, which opens this weekend. And those are going to be some of the fall films that are going to kind of indicate where things are.
Joe, the appetite for the film fan is out there, correct? And I know for one, I want to see the 007 movie. But when we talk about the business of the film industry, the success that you've seen recently, you and I have also talked about the problems of getting into the movie houses. They were there during the pandemic, now even more so coming in, and still with the pandemic here. With the home box office, the home theater thing where you can stream and such, are they going to pull back the reins on that to get people back to the theaters? What do you see going forward here?
Well, that's still in flux, and I know I sort of say that every time I'm on with you, but that remains to be seen. There is a real push and pull between the exhibitors, the movie theaters, and the studios. The movie theaters obviously don't want the streaming option, at least right away. And the theaters want to make as much money as they can. The studios want to make as much money as they can. The trend towards this fall is that a lot of the big pictures are only going to be in theaters. So that is somewhat indicative of where things might be going. But at the same time, the studios realize that the home theater experience and the streaming is a viable outlet for them. So this remains to be seen. And then, of course, it trickles down into the business of movie making, as we talked about last time I was with you with the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit, and things like that. So, it's still a bit in flux, but there is, I hope that the theaters can come back, but I think there's always going to be that growing niche of, and I don't even know if I want to call it a niche, but that growing element of the home theater streaming experience.
Current film professor Joe Fortunato with us on WAKR. And Joe, why don't you educate us a little bit, because there's just not a lot of movies coming out right now. My wife and I were just talking about this. I wanted to ask you the financial focus of the film industry and actors and actresses, and are there being films made? Are there people out of work? And is COVID still a big player here on this?
Well, we're getting a lot of sort of a hodgepodge of releases that have been waiting, to come out for quite a while. The Bond film being, maybe the biggest one, because it's been at least a year since it was supposed to come out, and we've been kind of waiting for that. Dune is going to be released in October. That's another one that's been kind of hanging around for a while. Maverick or the Top Gun Maverick film will be coming out as well. So a lot of these things have been hanging around for a while, and now they're finally getting their release. The pipeline is pretty good. It's once studios and filmmakers kind of got a sense of how they could work safely on set with the COVID pandemic, they did that. It did, of course, hurt some box office or some products because it was more expensive to enact those safety protocols. So some of the smaller films might have gotten cut by the wayside. But I think the pipeline is fairly strong. One potential problem, and this we won't see this effect for a while, but is and I don't know if you're aware or if your listeners are aware, but there's a potential strike with the IATSE union coming up, and that's like all of the crew members of a film, and they are threatening to strike, and that could slow down Hollywood for a while.
Boy, that's for sure. Hey, Joe, before I let you go this morning, I'm really excited for the 007 movie that's being released in the United States tomorrow. I don't know if you've had a preview of that, if you've seen it, but what can you tell us to preview this thing? I can't wait for it.
I have not seen it. I am a big Bond fan myself. I know Daniel Craig says this will be his last time with Bond. So, I mean, savor that, I suppose. This Bond also tends to carry over stories from previous movies. And I don't say that to indicate that you have to have seen his previous Bonds to enjoy this, but there is some carryover from love interests of his in the past and things like that. So, the reviews I have seen have all been pretty positive. So I think we're in for a treat when it comes to James Bond. So
with 007 and you being a fan like I am, so many question marks on who the next Bond will be, from Hardy to whoever. Is there any more clarity on who the next 007 will be?
Your guess is as good as mine, Ray. It's the names, as you mentioned, have been circling around. One name you didn't mention was Idris Elba, who would be the first African American Bond. There's been some talk about a female Bond, whether that would be a continuation of the Bond series or sort of its own separate kind of spin-off or not. But playing Bond has its benefits and curses, just like playing Superman. You get kind of typecast in the role, but I don't think Daniel Craig has really had that problem. But some previous Bond actors have.
Well, Joe, thanks for the visit with us this morning. Terrific information. Joe Fortunato has been with us. He is a film professor, former entertainment industry professional as well. He is certainly tied in. Joe, I'll stay in contact, my friend. Thanks for the minutes with us this morning.
Thanks, Ray. I look forward to it.
Joe Fortunato joining us live this morning here on the Ray Horner Morning Show. And yes, 007 opening up tomorrow. 10 minutes in front of 9 at WAKR.